Would you stroke Superman to completion and drink his blood to obtain his powers? The next request is from Zeno, and he wants me to make a theory on how I think Prime Gapyeong versus Prime Shingen went. I'm not gonna lie, this one's so head-hurtingly creative that I actually have to get your props for this one. I see this battle playing out is that Gapyeong arrives late to the battle and sees all of his fist gang members on the ground and beaten severely. Gapyeong goes ahead to launch a fury of punches at Shingen, which but Shingen is not even remotely impressed by this because it doesn't have any effect. Instead, Gapyeong launches a conviction and punch against Shingen, which actually finally does damage. And this is where the fight truly begins as Shingen and Gapyeong Kim starts wailing on each other. Shingen gets excited in a fight for the very first time, where he's the first one to actually raise the level of the fight by going into his true UI. And once Shingen goes into his true UI, he starts going after everyone indiscriminately, going after the other Fist Gang members and even ripping off Charles's arm. And that's where Gapyeong gets angry and starts tapping into more conviction to try to stop Shingen, where Gapyeong Kim actually collapses from exhaustion due to the toll that conviction takes on him. And then Shingen goes to try to strike Gap, finishing him off, but he stops the last second, coming back to his senses, where Shingen starts belittling him and mocking him in a kind of motivational way, basically telling him to get back up and continue on fighting. Telling him, if you don't get up, I am going to kill all your friends and everyone you know. At the same time, Gap is actually faced with an eternal conflict where he starts contemplating himself on how he's going to win and how he's going to beat him, until he finds his own path, which is conviction. To be more specific, he gains the ability to use the full capabilities of conviction without destroying his body, in which Shingen chooses not to go back into true UI and chooses to enjoy the fight. With both of them engaging in a punch out, with this time on the end, Shingen is actually the first one to collapse and lose the fight. But throughout the fight, Gap actually gains an understanding of Shingen and grows to respect him. He understands that Shingen is actually doing this because the Yamazakis, it's what the Yamazakis want, it's what they want to do, and Shingen is not doing this for his own self. And off of the understanding he gains of Shingen, he chooses to keep it a secret because Shingen doesn't want people to know about this side of him. And Shingen and Gap actually form a weird God and Goo type of relationship where both of them are rivals but they're mostly friends. Shingen then decides to pull back the Yamazakis and head back to Japan, not really wanting to attack Korea again because he's now friends with Gapyeong Kim, but not knowing what to do with his life after that. In which part he sits down, chills, and just waits to die until he finds a new purpose in his life, being that of protecting Gun.